Welcome back to JUCO Jam. This is Season 3, Episode 12, with the return of the JUCO advocate himself, Brandon Goble. Brandon, thank you so much for being here today. We are excited that you are back with us.
Yay! We did it. I'm back.
And things got crazy while
So,
you were gone.
Dude, I go away for a week and it's
Chaos.
chaos grenade across the landscape, which we'll dive into right off the rip here.
Let's do it. All right, let's get right into the rewind. Game number 1, Daytona State versus Eastern Florida State. The Falcons win 74-69. Daytona trailed by as many as 16 points late into the second half. With about 8 minutes to go, they make their run. The Titans had 23 turnovers. Isaiah Dorcius had 5 steals. Tyrese Lacey credited with 4. To me, that number feels low from watching the game. Daytona State only had 11 turnovers, so that's 12 extra possessions. Eddie Plaisir had a huge game, 23, 6 for 10 from 20 points, 6 out of 10 for threes. Tyrese Lacey also had 17 points. Unfortunately, the game was marked by a little bit of a kerfuffle at the end,
Hullabaloo, if you will.
leading to some forfeits and whatnot. So that is unfortunate in a game that was just a fantastic game. Daytona State kind of showed the heart of a champion, chipping away, coming back down from 16 points late in the second half. This is the second time Eastern Florida has had a double-digit lead on Daytona in the second half, and Daytona State has won both games. Could we see round 3 in the state tournament?
We could. I do think Daytona State is a team that's built to win a national championship. We've seen them enough now, and I think this was a really telling game to if you at this time of year, especially if you're going to make a big run in the tournament, like you have to be able to overcome those big adversity moments in a game. And when you have leadership like Tyrese Lacey that can just kind of grab everybody and lock them in as that floor general, and get that done, and then be a big part even in the stat sheet of that comeback. That's the kind of game where you look at it and you say, you know what? Okay, we can literally beat anybody. If we can be down 16 to a team as talented as Eastern Florida and still win, we can beat anybody.
Yeah.
So
huge confidence builder for those guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then staying in the great state of Florida as we transition to the Panhandle, Gulf Coast gets a big 55-54 win over Chipola. That was their 4th consecutive win in a row for Gulf Coast, but Coach Lane Ballou has now won 5 games in a row in the Panhandle. And in this game, a close game, Chipola hit only 1 out of 7 from the free throw line. Chipola still in great position in the state tournament, as well as, position themselves for, an at-large bid in the national tournament. But I'm sure Coach Donnie Tyndall has the boys working on free throws.
Yeah, it almost looked like a mistake, right? When you see that okay, well, they must have missed a bunch of free throws in the box score or something that they forgot to account for. 1 out of 7 is crazy.
You don't see a 14% number too often.
No, no, you don't. Lane has the guys rocking. Another team that in the media poll made a big jump this week, and has every ability to take a run at grabbing one of those at-large bids or winning the tournament themselves. So, yeah, the Florida region is just loaded this year.
And we had 2 really big games on Saturday. Coach Cody Hopkins and we talked about Panola Trinity Valley on the show last week. Trinity Valley wins 73-60. I hypothesized that I did not think either team would get 260 in the game. In fact, both teams did. Trinity Valley went on a big run to start the second half. Offense looked easy for them, really got flowing offensively. Great win for Trinity Valley. If my master spreadsheet is right, that makes them 25-2 on the year. They're 8-2 versus ranked teams. I think if anybody slips up, Trinity Valley would be the clear number 1 going into the national tournament, but probably no worse than 2. And then the other big game Saturday was Vincennes at Lakeland. Vincennes wins 92-86. I would say that Lakeland played about as perfect as a game as they could possibly play against Coach Todd Franklin and the Trailblazer. Freshman Stevie Tatum, write this name down, Brandon. Stevie Tatum from Decatur, Illinois, hit 7 for 7 threes in the first half, scored 25 big biscuits in the first half for Coach Julian Larry, finishes the game with 33. None of these shots were open shots. Samuel Hincapie finished with 18-7 for Lakeland, but it wasn't enough. Brian Akonmu, who we've talked about on the show before, 22-11. LeBron Thomas, 21 points and 8 assists. And kind of the straw that's stirring the drink right now, Travell Bryson, very bouncy 6'5", 6'6" wing freshman for Vincennes, 28-10. He missed 5 or 6 weeks early on in the season dealing with an ankle injury. He's back. He's thriving, one of the better freshmen in the country. What interests you the most about Saturday?
That Vincennes win, was a great win, and Lakeland, like you said, had to play the perfect game. What I think am kind of starting to really see out of Vincennes is that, ability to get big games out of multiple positions where it's not just really one guy that you're relying on. It is crazy to me how under recruited a lot of those kids are right now, especially when you look at the history of Vincennes players. Todd Franklin, he's a tough coach, right? And nobody will dispute that. You know that you're getting somebody that can handle, anything coming out of the program like that. And so, they have everything built to take a deep run at Hutch as well. So it's going to be interesting to see as these names that people have just kind of ignored to this point, when they show up at Hutch and start doing work, and they look down and go, well, gee whiz, that kid's a good player. It's like, yeah, duh.
And, Michael Osei-Bonsu,
Yeah.
doing
Gee.
great things at Missouri State. He's had some cool highlight reels. Brian Akonmu, a little different player, but similar. Coach Franklin has a type. Let's just put it out there. He has a type. And Brian fits that. But 22-11, he's played his best basketball down the stretch, clearly taken a leadership position. And I am shocked. I am truly, truly shocked that he does not have multiple Division I offers that he is shuffling through right now.
Yep, it's just nature of the beast right now. But
But let's get him out the hutch. Let's
let's
get him
get
in
him
the
out the
national
hutch.
spotlight.
They can
Let's
all
let
fight over him when he gets there.
Yeah, and good for Brian, right? That's the beauty of Hutch. You put these kids on a spotlight. You bring in 100 coaches from all over the country, and it gives them a chance to fall in love. And then last night we had a terrific game. New Mexico comes from behind and wins 71-70. Forgive my typo there on my sheet, Brandon.
I did
Um,
get that, and I
but
was like,
yeah, so Frank Phillips was up 40-21 at one point in the game. And at that point, I turned on Netflix and turned on a little Zero Day with Bobby De Niro, working through that. And I just kind of had the game on the side screen. And here I am watching New Mexico chip away, chip away. And this was a big road win for New Mexico, gets them really right in the mix of things in the Whack Jack.
yeah. Talk about winning at the right time, right? There's going to be teams that are looking to be sitting real pretty, that are going to falter here, and then there's going to be teams that were kind of on the outside looking in that are going to make this last little charge. That was a huge part of New Mexico making a charge here. Now they have the talent and have shown in conference play to win the whole um, Region 5 tournament, but now they're really starting to show that they may be able to take a run here and get some of that at-large love as well.
New Mexico one game back from being in the region tournament, which is bonkers. So that'll be something to watch. Brandon, let's transition to the rundown. I got 7 games. We're gonna go through really quick. I'm gonna give you four on for Wednesday and Thursday. On Wednesday, Gulf Coast, Northwest Florida. There's a whole permutation of things that have to go right for Northwest Florida to even be in the state tournament, which is ironic because they host the state tournament. How awkward would that be for Northwest to host the state tournament and not be able to participate in it? And then Thursday, we got Frank Phillips at South Plains, Murray State at NEO, CSI at Snow. Out of those 4 games, Brandon, what are you most excited about?
Um, I'm really interested to see if Gulf Coast can keep things rolling. Position themselves to have a huge end to the season here, and position themselves to be in that at-large discussion. And I think Frank Phillips at South Plains is a big one. That for both teams for multiple reasons. But CSI at Snow, of course, is also exciting because it's gonna just kind of see, does Snow keep that magical season rolling here?
Yeah, can they run through it undefeated?
Yeah, that team is just so fascinating to watch, and we're gonna get to see them at Hutch, and I would not want to be the one that has to game plan first those first couple games probably for them. So it's just There's so many things. What is that? What's that scouting report look like? Is it 23 pages long?
I think it's actually pretty simple. Everybody can do the basic things, right? They're all like triple threat, catch, shoot, pass.
Chuck your finger
If they're
up and pray.
if you leave anybody, everybody's a shooter, right? If you don't close out and get a hand up, they're going to hit a three in your face. If you
And they
close
might
out,
anyway, even
and if
if
you
you do.
close out too hard, they're going to dribble around you. I love that Chance Trujillo is getting some love. I've seen a couple of offers that have come his way. You know, Isaac Finlinson, a National Player of the Year candidate. You got Isaac Garrett, Mark Brown Jr., kind of the big three, if you will. But
I
there
mean,
is a
really, both Isaacs are probably National Player of the Year candidates at this point.
yeah, but the support cast, the Coleman Fords, the Chance Trujillos, McCaden Adams, right? Those are guys that might be easy to overlook because they're not a National Player of the Year candidate. They are great college basketball players that are going to be fun to watch at the highest level. All right, Brandon, Saturday. Let's make the transition. I'm going to give you two hors d'oeuvres and then a main event. Pensacola Gulf Coast, Northwest Florida Chipola. We got that out of the way. Main event, Triton at Indian Hills in Ottumwa. Your thoughts?
Well, first off, that Pensacola game, Pensacola's been really high and had some lows, and kind of on the back end of that Florida love right now. But this would be a big one for them to try and make a stamp here late. But Triton and Indian Hills, whew, what a game that's going to be.
Triton has never won at Indian Hills.
Yep, yep, and they got the win at Triton.
Yep.
So obviously Indian Hills looking for the revenge here and trying to position themselves to try and be a top 4 to 5 seed when it comes time for Hutch. Both teams really fighting for that.
Yeah.
So
I would say short of making it to Hutch, this game means a lot to Triton because it's something they've never done.
yeah,
I mean, this is one of those. This is probably the game they circled of the regular season because it's something that Steve Christensen wasn't able to get done. It wasn't something that the great John Clancy was able to get done. But this is I think this means something for Big Soup and his kids. I think they would love to be the ones that said, "Yeah, we were the group that did it."
yeah,
And it's never easy to win in Ottumwa. But this is a talented group. It's going to be a great game, and excited to listen to Russ W. Oker on the call.
love it, absolutely love it. Be tuned in for sure.
All right. When we return, we are going to get into the spotlight. We have Coach Donnie Jackson from the Cowley Tigers. Stick with us on JUCO Jam.
Intensity fuels these champion student athletes to greatness. Zurich Insurance is proud to be the official provider of student athlete insurance for the National Junior College Athletic Association. Throughout the highs, we cheer along to their screams of victory. Throughout the lows, we support them through their tears of defeat. Zurich Insurance, helping student athletes play the sport they love.
Welcome back to JUCO Jam. We are honored to have a JUCO Jam Hall of Famer with us, Coach Donnie Jackson from Cowley. Coach, second time being on the show this year, first time being in the spotlight as a guest and not a co-host. Thanks for joining us.
I appreciate the invite. I think I prefer co-host better than being in the spotlight.
Fine, I'll
You
just
were a
leave,
great
whatever.
co-host. You might be up for co-host of the year. So let's talk Cali basketball. 25-3. You got two regular season games remaining. You got Cloud on Wednesday, and then next Wednesday at Butler, and then your region tournament starts March 11th. You guys are on a nice run, 7 wins in a row. What are you enjoying most about coaching this Cali team?
The sophomores that played for me last year have been unbelievable leaders. Shamar Hugie, Marcus Ziegler, Avante Nichols, and I don't want to leave out Leslie Owens. He's still a leader behind the scenes, even though he's out for the year. But the leadership that they show every day has been phenomenal. And I call Jeff Wanquo and Corey Thomas the other day and said it doesn't happen if you guys aren't great leaders to them, and they're paying it forward to the next class. And so that's the most enjoyable thing, is showing up every day and being around my returners. And then fortunately, we found the right mix of transfers that had also played within the conference, Dallas Whitney and Marquise Jones, and they've been invaluable. And I attribute their experience in the Jayhawk and their familiarity with our sophomores as a big reason our chemistry has been good. And then you plug and play MJ Whitlock, who has familiarity with some of my Georgia guys, and the chemistry has just been really good because of the connections.
Talk about MJ Whitlock a little bit. He leads your team with 16 points per game. Really exciting young man to watch play.
Well, the thing I love about MJ, he's very easy to coach. You don't have to yell at him. You tell him something, he just listens. You could talk a little smack to him, he takes it well. But he's super efficient. He doesn't need a lot of shots to score. And when he's open, the guys find him, and he's not going to take bad shots. And I would attribute that to uh, everyone on the team, because really they kind of all just play for each other. Because I honestly wouldn't say this is one of the more talented teams that I've ever coached, but I would say it's one of the better actual teams that I've coached, and it comes down to team play. But MJ's a big reason for that, and he can get going on any given night and drop 30, or he can make the right play for his teammates.
I would say that as a team, you guys are longer than you are big, but I mean, I think you're really skilled, and I think a perfect fit in today's junior college game. 35% on the season from 3-point line, 75% on the free throw line, less than 13 turnovers a game. And I think whenever you have the ability to get to the free throw line, you shoot threes at a decent clip, and you don't turn the ball over. I mean, I think that puts you in every game against top competition.
For sure. And you kind of hit the nail on the head. Was we have a lot of versatility with our length. We don't have traditional size at all. So we got to be creative with what we do defensively. And it doesn't always feel comfortable sometimes when you're fronting and having to give extra help. But the guys have bought into our rotations and backside coverage. And again, that's all buy-in. And that I attribute that again to my sophomores, because they're the ones that lead the way with talking about second efforts and multiple efforts and rotations when we're playing. And an example of that would be the other day when we're playing Garden. We had got a lead, and Garden made a nice run and took the lead, and I called timeout, and Marcus Ziegler. And I told him this the other day, you're the reason we won because of what you said in the timeout. But he's like, hey, we just got to keep trusting each other. We got to keep trusting coach. And in that moment, I knew we were going to be okay, because he got the troops rallied for us to pull out that win.
So, you're a frequent contributor to the JUCO Jam, so we've got to try to come up with some questions you haven't received so far. And you may have given us a segue into it a little bit there, but, 5, 6, 7 years in the future, you're still doing great things at the coaching level. What guy on this team do you think might be sitting beside you as an assistant coach?
Um, it would probably be the Joker, Avante Nichols. That's probably an off the ball. That really was a random question, but caught me off guard. But I would say Avante, he's super smart, and I know he's a fan favorite with all of his dunks. But you know what he does? He pays attention to people's their temperaments. He's a great teammate. He's understanding the game a lot better. But he has the personality to be a recruiter. And I think he'd actually be a pretty good coach. So I actually said something to him like, hey, one day, I'd like you to coach with me if you end up wanting to get into it. But hopefully that's after slam ball and the trampolines and all that, because he'd make a career in that for a while.
I think he chose Avante for that because Jeff Nwankwo is going to be president of the United States or something like that.
And he might be. He is El Presidente.
No, I do hope that you guys, and I think you're clearly on the path to, return to the national tournament, which I know is always the goal. But I think Avante, maybe more so than any other player on your roster, has a great chance to showcase his talents in front of a lot of college coaches who I think are missing out on Avante right now because I think what he does to impact winning and the energy that he provides is not a skill that everyone has. And I think that is something that you can plug and play Avante at a lot of levels of Division I basketball, and he will provide that winning impact that coaches ultimately desire.
Well, on Avante's behalf, one, I never compliment him. We have a little love-hate relationship on compliments. And one day I did. He says, "Hey, coach, you complimented me. You got to take that back." But what I do want to say about him is he is one of one as a person and player. I've never, in 23 years of coaching, had someone that has more energy than him ever on a day-to-day. He always is excited. He's always ready to have a good time. He's always kind of doing this little shoulder thing in practice, and he's very fun. But the momentum and energy when he comes into the game, it's just different. And I know I don't even know what his true position is. I know he's a guard and a wing or a forward. He just plays wherever, but he's exciting and he's going to get the crowd into it and he's going to be electric. And that's what he brings to the table. And I hope what you said, Division I coaches take notice because I do think he's a Division I player and he's definitely a Division I athlete.
I mean, he might be the only person on the planet who might be able to take on Mac McClung in a dunk contest. So, I mean, I think
Yes.
athletically he's off the charts.
Yes.
And hope you guys have an extra rim or two around the facility at Cowley just in case.
There's two guys that my assistant coach Reggie Scurry was the best dunker I ever coached, and I tell him every day, Avante's definitely better than you now. He's number one and you're number two, and it's not close.
All right. It's that time. It's that time, coach.
That time, coach. All right. You know what? We're gonna actually two-part this one, coach. Because I want you to tell just a little story because it's funny and awesome, and I'm like actually imagining you actually having that beard your entire life. So when I think about this story you kind of told off air, I'm actually imagining it with the beard, which makes it even better. So I've got the Larry Johnson Slam shirt on here this morning, and you saw that, and you told us a little tidbit about a job you had. Would you mind telling the crew what that job was and why Larry Johnson was involved in it?
Well, one, when I was a kid, my friend Clark McGlory and I would always play one-on-one, and I'd be Larry Johnson and he'd be Stacy Ogman. So I always loved Larry Johnson. That was when they were at UNLV. And I got a job when I was 14 at Sonic, and that's the old days where you had to wear the roller skates. And I remember seeing a pair of black and turquoise blue Larry Johnsons that were $120, and that was my goal with my tip money to save my money to go purchase those shoes. And that was the first pair of basketball shoes I bought myself, were the Larry Johnson Converse ones.
Oh man, those are so fire too. My first pair were Penny Hardaways, and they fell apart in about 2 weeks.
I still think about those cons all the time because I would definitely rock them still.
Yeah, I saw Penny at the Final Four and told him that the first release of his shoes were not well made. Man, I spent all of my lawn mowing money on buying those shoes. All right, Coach, we're gonna wrap it up with the real here. Big win. You head to Chili's. You say, you know what, boys, we're having a great meal tonight. What are you kicking off with at Chili's?
Well, it used to be the triple dipper.
Oh,
I'm changing though, and I'm going to go a little surf and turf.
Oh,
A little steak with shrimp and loaded potatoes and broccoli, and of course a non-alcoholic beverage. Probably a Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
In all our years doing this, Coach, I think you're the first person to mention a vegetable. So I mean, I love that diversity to your game.
One of one. And
Brian Burns likes cheddar broccoli soup, so technically that's a vegetable.
Well, I didn't get to mention me at 14 with this beard and roller skates. Oh man, that one would not be a good sight there, Brandon. So Nick, please erase that out of your database of memories.
It's my favorite thing ever. It's there forever now. Every time I think of Larry Johnson
with the LJs,
with the LJs, with the wheels on the bottom.
That's fantastic.
Well, Coach, we wish you the best of luck down the stretch here. 2 regular season games remaining. You got your state tournament, and then we look forward to seeing you again at the national tournament in Hutchinson. And thank you for your time and friendship throughout the years.
Yeah, thank you guys too. You guys are always great to me, and it's greatly appreciated.
All right, stay with us, guys. When we
We
return, we
get,
will get into what are we getting into, Brandon? What's
we're
next?
getting into the grind.
We're getting into the grind. Stay with us.
As the second largest intercollegiate athletic association in the country, the NJCAA serves not only a pivotal role in college athletics, but in higher education. The NJCAA Foundation aims to move the association forward through resources, grant programs, and other special initiatives. Your gift to the NJCAA Foundation will make a difference and create opportunities.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
Welcome back to JUCO Jam. We are going to get into the grind where we feature a current JUCO player. And this is our show, Brandon, so we're going to do it differently. Last year, we spoke about the guys on Triton as the firm, which would be Connors, Williams, Aguilar, and Dixon. This year, we think there's a new firm. We're going to talk about the guys at Jones College, the Bobcats, Kai Dent Purnell, and LJ Hackman.
Purnell, and Hackman, attorneys at law.
And, Jones not a deep team. These guys are averaging each 32 plus minutes per game. That is a lot of minutes. You're getting what, 45% of the total minutes from three guys on your roster, which is absolutely incredible. To me, LJ Hackman, the guy that stirs the drink, I think he's one of the more underrated players in the country. I love him as a point guard. He reminds me of Darren Williams from Illinois and Utah Jazz NBA fame. I think his best basketball is ahead of him, but I like the big, strong, physical point guards. And these three are fun to watch. If I think about a team that has a legit chance at winning a national title, I think Jones is in the top three for me.
Coach Newton's going to have them rolling. So it's when you get into a Hutch environment like that, if you've got some superstars that can just say, hey, everybody get on our shoulders and let's roll. You got a shot, and obviously, just like Triton making it to the national championship game, riding the four horsemen of the apocalypse.
Yeah. And you throw Avery Thomas in here, who's one of the best freshmen in the country too. I mean, he's more of a power forward, but can play the three, good shooter from outside. But I mean, Jones is loaded. Jones has 3 losses on the season. 2 of those losses is when Dent Purnell didn't play. And when they lost in the Pensacola Thanksgiving tournament, they lost to Chipola and Pensacola. Only 1 loss on the season. That was at Itawamba, and that was the night that AJ Dent went crazy for 36 or 38 points.
Itawamba's a very good team. I mean, they in that top 35-ish range in there too. So Jones has faced some tough teams this year and gotten some good wins. But having those 3 guys plus Avery, gives them a real good chance.
We're going to transition to the show. One of your former JA48 kids doing great things, Markel Sutton at Omaha, formerly of Connor State, 6'9", forward from Tulsa, averaging 19 and 8. Talk about Mr. Sutton and what he brings to the table.
So he was a freshman qualifier, went 1 year of JUCO at Connors. This is his 3rd year at Omaha, and has Omaha having their best season ever. He's really started to shoot the ball. And of course, his size and length and toughness and physicality and all that sort of stuff has just been massive for them. He had 36 the other night. And he's so talented, but he's an awesome kid. He's a leader. Coach Crutchfield is doing a fantastic job there. I love Kyan Brown, his assistant, who really got the trash can smashing thing started, which went viral and wound up on ESPN and everything the other night. When he had 36, they literally had two AEW wrestlers come in and give the people's elbow to the trash can, I think. And so they're really having a lot of fun with it, and I know Markel is loving it, and it would just be awesome to see them, get a chance to showcase what they're doing at the NCAA tournament. And if they do, it's because a lot of it's going to have to do with what Markel Sutton's doing for them.
That's awesome. Great to see another one of your JA48 kids doing so well. And it's cool because Omaha has so many junior college players on their roster. So they're definitely tapped into the junior college circuit. Stick with us. When we return, we're going to have our closing thoughts that we call the sixth man.
Intensity fuels these champion student athletes to greatness. Zurich Insurance is proud to be the official provider of student athlete insurance for the National Junior College Athletic Association. Throughout the highs, we cheer along to their screams of victory. Throughout the lows, we support them through their tears of defeat. Zurich Insurance, helping student athletes play the sport they love.
Welcome back to JUCO Jam. We're going to talk about our sixth man. For those who follow along in junior college basketball, like probably most of the people who are actually watching the show, you know that there has been a lot of altercations, kerfuffles, if you will, this week. And I think it's important to remember at JUCO Jam, we have one rule, ELE. Everybody love everybody.
Everybody love everybody.
So if you know a junior college player or a coach, give them a hug, remind them to stay on the sideline at all times during the game. And if you are inclined
and immediately after the game too.
And immediately after the game. And maybe you take your chair and you put it back a half step. Place it back 18 inches.
Can't hurt.
Can't hurt. But, from this, great stories are born. And, a lot of suspensions were handed down. Gillette was one of the team that had some suspensions, and they had to make the choice. Do we forfeit games, or do we try to think outside the box, if you will, and try to add players to the roster? So this is from Coach Neary. He said that I could share it. They added 2 players to the roster, Jacob Vasquez and Caleb Howe. Caleb was actually a friend of his son, Jefferson. Caleb was a walk-on soccer player, just a tough, hard-nosed kid. And he gladly accepted the challenge. He came in, he hit a 3-pointer their first game at Laramie County. Super cool. And then another young man, Jacob Vasquez, he was actually their student assistant manager all season long. He grew up, playing basketball and track at a really small high school about 30 miles from Gillette. Cancer survivor. Coach Neary just describes him as an awesome kid. He hit a 3 during the game. I mean, what a super cool experience that is for him. Still packed and carried all the equipment on the trip, ordered our pizza for us after the game, and helped with laundry. How's that?
Unbelievable.
So I think it's just cool to see that those 2 kids stepped up. They helped their team, helped the community. And, through adversity, great stories happen in the NJCAA. I think that's a great highlight of that. And, during this 2-game period where the guys were suspended, these 2 kids stepped up, so they had enough players to play the game. They won both games. I think that's just a great, great story.
Not just for nothing, right? Gillette's trying to make a push here.
Yeah.
And they're right there for being able to make some noise come tournament time and stuff. This wasn't like we're 10 and 16 and
this is a ranked team in the mix, at large bid. good seed at the national tournaments, everything in play. It would have been easy for them to say, hey, we only have 4 guys. We're just going to forfeit the games. We'll do our best in the region tournament. These 2 kids really stepped in, helped their community, helped their program. I think it's a great story. And congratulations to those 2 kids, and wish them the best the rest of the season.
Absolutely.
All right, that is our show for today. Stick with us as always, same time next week. I hope you have a wonderful sports week.